Okay, I'll call the committee meetings back to order. We now go to Parks and Recreation, chaired by the Roxanne Murphy.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. So the Parks and Recreation Committee is joined by Councilmember Borneman and Councilmember Weiss, and we have one agenda item today. It's a Park and Recreation Department Recreation Division update. And so we'll hear today about the Recreation Division's work plan and the place to be, which is Maritime Heritage Park.
Yes. Thank you, James King, Parks and Recreation Department. Wanted to get Dick in here to just give you an update, all the good things that are going on and some of the challenges that are coming up and what's going on in his world. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dick.
I didn't realize I was going to be restricted to just those couple of things, so I have 47 pages of notes. Actually, I wanted to just say a little bit about history. The Parks and Recreation Department was a Parks Department until 1976. It was not a Parks and Recreation Department. Mayor Hertz passed through that it became a Parks and Recreation Department at that time. It became a functioning Parks and Recreation Department in July of 1978. So that's when Greg Hatch and myself came over from the old Recreation Commission and joined the city. Another piece of history, this was the first leisure guide that was put out. It was 11 agencies in 1979 and 12 pages. So that was in 1979. 142 guides later, or 36 years later, this one has 58 agencies and 92 pages. And so, and what this is a gathering of all the community agencies in one publication that's been put out quarterly that we started in 1979. Most Parks and Recreation Departments' philosophies are, this is what we do, and we're going to tell you what we do, but we're not going to tell you what other people do. But I think we owe it to the citizens to let them know what they can do in recreation in Bellingham, Whatcom County. And so this is pretty nice. Lance Romo took it over this year, and it's the first guide that I haven't done, and it's really pretty. So he did a really nice job with it. Philosophy. It's always been my philosophy that we don't have to do everything. We just need to make sure everything gets done. So as a Parks and Rec department in the city, we are the citizens and the community's representatives to recreation. So we like to work with a lot of different agencies, and I'll talk about partners in a minute. One of the areas we have under Recreation Division is the Aquatic Center. We have a little over 200,000 visits a year in that facility. Pretty much status quo right now. The facility maintenance funds, we've been playing with facilities from Public Works, doing all of our maintenance, doing all of our custodial and all that stuff for a few years. Well, in 2015, we turned all the funds over to them to do that. So we were paying all the bills, and they were supervising our staff, and now they have all that. So really in aquatics, we're only doing the operations part of it, not the facility maintenance of it. But we work very closely with Clark Williams and Myron Carlson, and Myron's doing a great job. So it's really cool to work with those folks and have them over there doing it. And every year in all of our programs, we review each program. So at the Aquatic Center, it's all the classes, all the open swims, all that kind of stuff. We see how efficient we are at each one of those programs, what service level we're at. We're trying to make people happy. But you know, if there's 200,000 visits, 100,000 of them want the water warmer or they want it colder. Or they want the air with less humidity or more humidity. So it's kind of interesting to deal with those little issues. But now we pass them on to Myron, and he does a really nice job. We also are looking at revenue for next year and fee structure, and we'll bring a proposal, forward to Kelly on that later on. Athletic facilities. We're serving well over 400,000. I haven't done the numbers for last year. Since Civic has been improved, we went from 65 field uses to about 400. And now it's even more than that as soccer has grown, lacrosse, and some of those other things. We have 3 full-time staff, 2 9-month staff, and 1 3-month staff person at Civic. We have 7 days a week coverage, 13 to 17 hours a day year-round. Those guys are humping. And sometimes it's busier when you throw in a graduation, or we picked up a state 4A tournament because Pasco had grass issues, 10 days. We found out had 10 days to prepare for it. And we did it. Fortunately, with the new Joe Martin facility, we were able to accommodate that. So, and Pasco thought that they lost about $250,000 not hosting that tournament. So I'm guessing that came our way. Those folks take care of 12 Parks and Rec facilities and 7 school district facilities. And besides the things I'm going to tell you about, they mow, they weed eat, and they do all those other kinds of things. At Civic Stadium, maybe I just want to give you a list of kind of what goes on there. Cross-country championships this year, track championships, soccer championships, football championships, and all the school leagues for 7 different schools, soccer, track, and football. And lacrosse is taking place there, Ranger and adult soccer, rugby, adult football, all-comers track, and community events like the Kids Traverse and the Tandem Bike Rally this year. They're going to be staging out of there. They're expecting to bring about $300,000 into town. Joe Martin, with the new facility, we did take on the 4A state baseball tournament, which puts us on WIAA's radar, and they were real pleased with the tournament, looking they'd like to come back. We have the Bells, who are very, very successful. So even though we have artificial turf and we're not lining it every day, we're picking up garbage for a couple thousand people quite often. So we have adult and youth baseball there, high school baseball, Western baseball, and now during the winter, we're going to have soccer, lacrosse, and rugby practices. In Jerry, we have 4 fields. We have all levels of softball there for about 6 months a year, 7 months a year, and then we have youth baseball. Squalic, and we're adding another field on there. That'll give us 2 fields there, and we're still running the 2 fields at Downer. That's all youth baseball. And youth baseball actually has been growing recently in the area. And at Padden, we don't actually completely do Padden, but we schedule it, and we just built a cricket pitch, and they had their first game last weekend. So there's new things moving into town. And at the schools, the 7 schools, we have all levels of baseball. We work with the schools on their youth softball, football, and soccer, and then we schedule all those facilities. So we're kind of one-stop shopping. This year, we're reviewing the interlocal agreement with the school district. It's been long-standing and needs to be revisited. We're reviewing our staffing, equipment. We share a mower with Parks, and we're mowing those fields. Lots of times we have to mow them twice a week, and generally speaking, we can get it on the weekend. So we're mowing really early in the morning or really late at night because they're full of people all day long. So it's kind of interesting to try to figure that one out. And we're also looking at the fee structure on all those facilities. Sports and enrichment. We have about 160,000 visits in sports and enrichment, and Maritime has been something that's been added to our plate this year, and Amanda Grove's taken that on. I've been kind of watching over a little bit. James has been watching over, and Leslie's been working really closely with us. So we're really putting an effort into inviting the rest of the community down to a really cool park. We actually hired 2 extra labor staff who are going to be park stewards 7 days a week down there. And so they're going to be doing our evaluation, doing that, putting out other games and things. We're still in the process of developing how that's going to work, as well as working with all the activities that we've added on down there. It's kind of nice and not nice in a way, because the construction at Boulevard Park gave us a good excuse to move those concerts over to Maritime, because Boulevard isn't available. So that's a nice addition to Maritime. So James wanted to say a little bit about capital.
So just while we're on Maritime Heritage Park, just to update you quickly on some of the capital improvements that are going on there. We're going to replace the seating in the amphitheater, and if all goes well, that'll begin this week. If it gets drug out for various reasons with the contractor, then we may hold off and wait till September, but we're hoping to get going on it this week. As the Public Works Department is upgrading the lighting on the streets to LED, we're going to do that in the park as well. At the same time, we're also going to be adding some new lighting to brighten it up a little bit more in the winter. We have a request for proposals out right now to put a 3D mural on the sidewalk in there. And for those of you who haven't seen 3D murals, you should Google it. They are really cool. And we hope to get that later this summer on the sidewalk for people to come look at that. We're going to upgrade the benches in there. We have changed the dog off leash rules in there so that it is now open for dogs off leash until 10 a.m. in the morning, from sunrise to 10 a.m. We're also working with the police department and public works to put in a video surveillance system. That'll happen later this year, likely. We've changed the ADA parking around so that we have better access for vehicles into the park that are part of events and cleaning and those sorts of things, improving access. We're looking towards the future to possibly put a large, several large features in there. One might be a slide down the hill, looking at playground again, and fixing up the restrooms. So we're continuing to improve things and do things that we hope will attract more people into that park. Okay.
So another area that we're in that I kind of, somebody said, would somebody like to do some activities out at Woodstock? And in 2012, and I said yes. Little did I know that it was quite a popular place and needed painting and all kinds of other things. But the facility's looking really nice right now. With the construction, we held off 44 people until January 1st to have their events there. 37 stuck with us. And we just had a psychiatric banquet out there this last Sunday of local psychiatrists. So we're doing more than just weddings. So it's been real successful with different events, and a lot more folks are visiting the park on a regular basis. We're seeing 30, 40 people a day now, so where we used to see nobody. The preschool program, it ended in June, just a week ago. I'm happy to announce that the 2 staff members have teaching jobs this fall, and we'll be leaving our employment at the end of August. They're doing summer camps. So really all that's left from Greg and Mai's move over from Whatcom Middle School in 1978 is Greg and I. We're the only thing left. There's no programs that we brought with us. We've passed a lot of those programs on, but no, I guess they lasted as long as they could. But the idea with that was to take the money we saved on the preschool and put it into supporting some of the other things that we actually have greater need for. So in 2016, taking the money from the preschool, some of the Woodstock revenue, we have $25,000 budgeted this year. We're probably going to take in $60,000. So the athletic 3-month position, the money we're spending on some of the extra labor at Woodstock and Maritime, I'm going to be recommending that we add some staff at no additional cost to the city. So we'll take these funds and just transfer them into new positions. So it'll be a 9-month athletics person, a 3/4 time person for Woodstock that would be paid by the fees and stuff that came in, a 6-month position at Maritime to help run Maritime, and a 5-month summer special events position. Another thing that's really grown for us in the last number of years, especially once we started reducing staff because of budget cuts, was creating partnerships and managing special events. So we've been doing that, and I haven't ran the numbers, but because of the state 4A tournament, and they told us that we brought in 200-some thousand because of the tandem, I want to kind of run the numbers on the people who are coming in from out of town at the different special events we're managing and partnering with. And I believe I can honestly say that we're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars into the economy in Bellingham because of those efforts of partnering with folks and doing special events, as well as providing new recreational opportunities for community members to participate in. So we're not just bringing people in from outside to impact us. We're where most of those our community members can be involved in. General recreation, we're still continuing sports leagues, camps, summer camps, special events, fitness stuff, and trying to stay on top of that. So in summary, in recreation, we're moving forward. We're not looking backwards. Greg and I aren't whining and crying because we're the only ones left. We need help. We definitely need help. We're embracing the change. We're keeping up with an active, growing recreation community. And as you well know, people here love to play. And though we get tired, off and on, we wouldn't want it any other way. I cannot imagine going to work and being bored. So anyway, thanks for your support for recreation. We love doing what we're doing, and we'd like to, reorganize a little bit so we can continue to do it into the future.
Well, we thank you so much for the information and the update, because we know how much our community values recreation. One thing that I wanted to say really quickly is that I really appreciate all the work that's gone into Maritime Heritage, because I've received feedback from the Bellingham Technical College and the services that they provide there, and whether the students felt safe or not in the park. And I explained long term that we're going to be really working on a lot of these different things, and you just gave me even more information that I can provide to the program, so thank you. Committee members, Councilmember Borneman.
Yeah, I'm just really glad to hear what's going on at Maritime as well. That's such a gem of a park that people just aren't aware of. When you got a park in downtown that has waterfalls, that's got wildlife along that stream corridor that people just have no idea of, and the plantings there, the totems, the sculptures, I mean, that is such a gem. And for us to be able to move forward and develop it more and try to get more people in there, I mean, I've loved that park forever. I mean, since we started developing the walks and stuff, but we need to get more people in there to realize what a true gem that is down there. And I really appreciate all the work they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the tasks the stewards have been, and Amanda have been, are tasked with is to keep track of what's going on, particularly changes and attendance of different populations and different things like that. What works, what hasn't worked, so we can build on those things next year, for sure.
Great.
Great, thank you.
Just some quick fun things that have been going on in there. So Saturday was the end of the Urban Kickball League, which was great. Those guys had a great time, very successful. They want to do it again in the fall. We've had some other very successful events. We're going to have Food Truck Fridays coming up. It's starting in July. There's a pet parade going on this weekend. They've been getting lots of different events going in there, and it's exciting to see so many people coming.
Just a quick question. Has eliminating the fee for nonprofits helped get more events there?
Some, yes.
But over time, that'll probably improve, right?
There's a definite stigma to the park, and it takes some time to overcome that. People need to understand that the support is there from staff and from the police to help take care of any issues that might come up, and so we're working hard to do that.
And there is interest, though. We have built interest in partnerships, and like Bellingham Fit as an example are in there for I think it's 18 times, and they're starting from there with their runs on Saturday mornings rather than from some other private location. So,
cool. Mayor Linville?
Well, I just wanted to say James omitted the fact that I got to roll the ball out for the tournament, and I almost hit home plate. So I just thought I'd let you know. But to go down there and to see how many people were playing and how excited they were about it, and everybody was just kind of commingling, and it was really, really great. And Nick Hartridge was down there. I think he has this permanent red wig, I think, that he'll have on his head forever. But he was the referee, and Mike McCauley loaned his large chair that I wondered, well, I won't even say it out loud. Anyway, but it was, people were having fun. And I think it's going to be great when the concerts are down there and people, are coming for that. The new stewards, I met one of them. I didn't meet the second one. I met Jacob, and very excited about what they get to do, to be there kind of working with Amanda and monitoring what's going on in the park. And so I think that the money that the council set aside in our requested budget was well worth it, and I think it's going to pay off. And I also just want to thank Dick, because I've known him since 1978, and he's still doing the same thing and doing it differently, and in some ways more, because they have less staff and they're running more activities. And the partnerships, as you all know, can be difficult to coordinate. So doing a good job, Dick. You're welcome.
Councilmember Lillquist.
Thank you. I'd like to return to the idea of recreational fees for the programs. I remember during the dark days of the budget downturn, I said, well, where can we cut money? I remember looking at the recreational. Maybe these are just things we can get rid of. And I learned, should understand, how much those programs actually are supported by user fees. It's, the substantial revenue comes in. The participants help pay their way. And I was interested to hear you say that your staff will be looking at reviewing the fees for the aquatic center, I think you said, and also for the athletic field use. I'm just wondering if what kind of policy direction you think you have on fees. Do you think your direction is to drive them as low as possible? Do you think your direction is to, do full cost recovery or something in between? What principles are you using to guide your review of the fees at this point?
Jump in for a minute. That would be a good discussion for the Parks and Recreation Committee. We're
Okay.
already 5 minutes over, but I think that's a discussion they might not have been prepared to have.
Can we do it some other day?
Sure.
Great.
Let's do it some other time.
Okay, this was for information only,
Thank
and I'm
you.
going to call end of committee.
Thank you, Roxanne. We'll wait